Happy Wednesday. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
Lauren, you just want to take over the show from now and you can just run with it because I know you got one of the biggest smiles from Philadelphia to Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Finally, Joel Embiid finally gets the credit he deserves after, 5-6 years at this point.
It's certainly deserving last year and well-deserving this year. Let's agree on this. We'll open the show with Embiid and we'll close the show with Embiid. How's that?
Sounds about right.
And we'll try to figure out anything in between. But I know you put up a welcome everybody. Anthony, thanks for joining us. I know you're pulling heavy duty, trying to figure out all them rainouts in Reading. So.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, we'll get to you in a couple minutes if we have spare time. This whole thing, right? What was were you able to, and I'm directing this at Lauren, as most of these questions are, because that's her boy. She's been an Embiid fan since day one. Did you watch it live?
I did not watch it live. Unfortunately, we had our walk for work is on Saturday, so we had a volunteer meeting last night.
Okay.
Poor scheduling on my part. So no, the meeting was at 6:30. I was hoping that maybe 7:00 we would have been done, but we were not. So I just casually, picked up my phone 5 after 7. And shortly thereafter, I saw the first notification. And then Anthony texted me the article from 6ABC. So that's kind of how I found out. But It's very much one of those moments where when you hear the news, you always kind of remember where you were. So I think I'll always remember that I was sitting in my conference room at work with a table full of volunteers who I have no idea if they're Sixers fans. I have no idea if they even know who Joel Embiid is, but I wasn't about to dive into that with them. So I just silently celebrated until I was out of there.
All right. Very cool. Cool. I guess the first question that I have for you, and it probably is an unfair question. Do you think that the team knew ahead of time because they were all together in the room like that and they just seemed like they were ready to celebrate?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they knew ahead of time because their reactions seemed genuine. They seemed pure, as if they just heard it for the first time. And Embiid's reaction seemed pretty like he was hearing it for the first time. So I don't know. Did you feel one way or the other?
I don't know if because they never showed the other team. So the Jokic guy, or whatever his name is, Jokic, however you say it, like, were they in a room too? They never show that person.
And I don't remember the past 2 years. And John, jump in, please. I don't remember the previous couple of years, when he was up for the award, where they had congregated like this. So I don't even know if they were on the road. I don't remember the scenario, and I was hoping somebody could maybe, we could piece this thing together. But I just think it was a super cool moment because it appeared by the size of the room and the number of people that it was the whole Sixer traveling party.
It looked like it was in like a conference room of the hotel that they were staying in, is what I would imagine. And that would explain why maybe his wife and his child wasn't with him, because that's the first thing that struck me kind of oddly. Right. When Bryce Harper got his MVP, there was that big spread at his house in Vegas, his kids, his wife, everybody was there. And I felt like those two were missing from it. And I even mentioned something to Anthony about it, hopefully maybe she was there with him and it just wasn't on camera. But what an amazing accomplishment to not be able to celebrate it with, your wife and your son.
Yeah, for sure. Right. For sure. Most definitely.
This would have definitely been the year where people would have been extremely upset if he didn't win it this year. I mean, some of those nights, the numbers he was pulling down and I feel like his defense definitely stepped up, so he was well deserving of it this year. If he didn't get it the other years, and And he didn't get it again this year. Would have been not a good look.
Yeah, exactly.
It was. Yeah. And I thought too. And again, an uncontrollable situation that Shaq and former Sixer Charles Barkley did the announcement. And then Charles made the ultimate announcement, which I thought was pretty cool.
Did you think it was a little short? Like it kind of, like with Charles, it's kind of was like, okay, Embiid won. Like Philadelphia, it's a little bit short.
Yeah, I mean, I just, neither one of those guys are what am I trying to say? I want to try to be as professional as possible and not.
They're not as easy on Embiid. They're always hard.
Well, they're not elegant with their words, and they didn't. It wasn't scripted, But I think the way Charles put it out there, from the Philadelphia 76ers, it kind of went from there, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
But I just think the whole moment, the team camaraderie, the Harden thing, and then find out today, right, that Harden gave him $100,000 Rolex watch.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess he did an interview today, and I guess that's when that all was brought to the forefront.
I thought their embrace, or Harden's embrace of Embiid, was really nice to see as well, because I was one of the first ones to express my concern when they were going to bring him here, how those two were going to coexist. Embiid's got a big personality, and he kind of wants to always be the star of the show, and he was going to have to share that spotlight a little bit. But it looks like the two of them have made it work, and James Harden seemed genuinely happy for Embiid. I mean, Harden was there just a couple years ago himself, so he seemed genuinely happy for him. So that was cool.
For sure. Yeah, 100%, And, it came at a good time because, maybe that's the little bit of a push that the team needed, right?
100%. If coming off Monday night's win wasn't enough momentum for them, there should be no stopping them now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm trying to gather information as to what the national media is saying, and still no love, still no respect.
No. I mean, I saw a couple of posts. ESPN put something up. I think SportsCenter put something up, on their Facebook pages and whatnot. But if I wasn't here in the Philadelphia market, it didn't seem like it was covered very well nationally.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably for anybody that wins it. I don't
feels like that though.
I never remember when someone else gets it. That's
I guess maybe I know when somebody else doesn't get it because Embiid was supposed to.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the folks out in Denver were not happy. I did hear that much. I guess they were looking for the Joker to be a two-time MVP.
Well, I think the real difference is I don't know that he plays, and not to get into it, but I don't think he plays. People complain that Joel doesn't play any defense. Well, he plays more than that guy. That guy doesn't. I've never seen him play much defense when I've seen him. So also, for someone to win it 2 or 3 years in a row, you got to really make sure there's no one in the same stratosphere that you are. I mean, they're not going to do that forever. So
yeah, well, I think we can all agree that you're not winning MVPs by playing defense. You know what I mean? Right. It's all about putting up numbers and big numbers and
sure.
That sort of thing. So that seems to be the what did he average this year? 33? Is that I think that was his average, points per game, something like that, and had some monster games.
Well, I like
the league again. Didn't even score.
Yes.
He was right. So I mean that's another, back-to-back years. That's big.
I thought Harden's quote was pretty good. Talking about if he scores 50, they say he doesn't pass enough, and if he doesn't score more than 20, means he's getting old. He can't win no matter what he does. But
right.
I'll just say that was a totally different game from him. than the game we were at. The poor guy couldn't hit anything, and I was just telling him, please sit him.
Yeah, it was crazy. The one game that we went to in the last round, there were moments where I'm like, just put him on the bench, just let him regroup, just sit him for 5 minutes, let him figure out what's going on. And Monday night, I didn't want him to sit at all. He was almost single-handedly the reason that they won.
I guess the good part with a guy like that is he has that, he mentioned like he has that confidence. So
and he's so even keel.
And,
like
so, yeah.
he never, even in his press conferences, he never.
You're talking about James Harden now, right?
Yeah. He never seems.
Yeah.
shaken.
There's no emotion there, one way or the other.
Right.
He's got that stern look, and kind of like he doesn't like anybody.
Yeah. Which put up 45 points. I don't care what you look like.
I think it might feel like the Sixers aren't getting any love now nationally. I think if they were to beat the Celtics, and get past this round, you're going to see more of it. I think people are just hesitant in general. It's a very tough team to play, and the Sixers haven't really proved that they can do that. So once they do that, they'll be okay. It's funny at work. One of the guys at work said, "I really hope that they play the Heat if they get past this round." And I said, "Well, you had better luck against the Knicks and not playing Jimmy Butler. Why would you want it to go to 7 games potentially against Jimmy Butler if you don't have to?" So I don't know. Hopefully they can obviously get through this round, but I would rather play the Knicks after this than the Heat if I had to choose.
I don't know. The Knicks are, they're playing some good ball.
No, I know that, but you don't want to play Jimmy Butler, who's always got to,
but now he's banged up, so.
Yeah, he got a bad wheel. He didn't play the other night.
Right.
I'm sure he's day to day. But
at this point in time, just get out of the second round. Let's even get to the third round and we play who we play. I don't worry about that stuff. I don't think about that stuff. So when people are like, "Oh, who do you want to play next?" I don't care. As long as we have somebody to play next, that means we made it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So interesting enough, we would be elated, right, to come home 1-1 if that be the case, right?
I would be elated to come home 2-0. I would be happy to come home 1-1.
Well, my point exactly. Like if you took if you took a pulse at the beginning of the series, you're thinking, okay, if we can split in Boston and come home 1-1, that's a pretty good deal, right? But now winning game 1. Okay, now you got an opportunity to win game 2. Right? Your big man is supposedly back. I don't know how much they're going to lean on him, but I'll still take whatever. Just like having Harper in the lineup, I'll take whatever percentage of Embiid I can get in the lineup.
He's just got to stay on his feet and not go down for a long amount of time, because that's what scares me. I mean, it's great that he's involved in things, and even on the bench the other night, getting involved with the whole scuffle. I get it, but you gotta think of the team a little bit and stay on your feet and not go down so much, because they need you.
Well, and they're going to know what to go after. They're going to know what his weakness is, and
I mean, if Embiid just goes and does rebound, and if he's plays defense that way, he doesn't have to worry about offensively. Just sealing it down where they're not getting those easy layups like they did last week or last game on.
Well, I imagine the Celtics are going to come at him hard. I mean, I would double team him and get him frustrated quickly.
Hey, Pete, I mean, they threw everything at them last game. I mean, Tatum would. I mean, what more can their top 3 players do?
No, they did everything. If the Sixers had missed any of those shots, they would have been at it. They answered every time they stuck around.
Yeah,
right.
They never gave up. That was the thing I took away from Monday the most, was they never gave up. They kept at it, even when they were down. I mean, at one point, I think they were down 15, but they never looked defeated. They never looked like they had given up, and I think that's really what was the difference maker.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's playoff basketball, we've talked about this, I think, all year. And John, you can, jump in. Playoff basketball is a whole different, it's a whole different deal.
It is.
Just the whole, playing of defense, no defense. You know, I mean, have you ever seen so many 3-pointers in all your life?
That's all they're doing.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. You know,
but
it's absolutely crazy.
You know, I think Harden had a big game in game 1 because they had the 10 days off, so his legs were fresh. You know, hopefully that carries over a little bit as well. You know, where they had the day off and he can recuperate and play again and stay strong. Because we don't want the games to go too long or the series to go too long, because with him, if he gets his legs tired, you know, it may burn out like you saw in the game you were there, Lauren. You know, that he didn't have his legs under him, and you know, it just happens.
Well, and you need a nice night from the bench again. You know, without Melton that first half, they would have been totally out of it. Mm-hmm. So you always need one of those guys off the bench to step up, because if they're double teaming somebody, it means somebody's going to be open. So if Niang or whoever can hit the shot.
Yep.
Even Paul Reed, I mean, he's holding his own.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, he really, you know, stepped up when they needed him at the end to hit those shots. And you just got to have someone step up that's not the main guys. That's all.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, scoring isn't everything. You know, I mean, they seem to have a tough time rebounding the ball sometimes. You know what I mean? And I think that's, you know, I think that's where, you know, Reed, you know, comes into play. PJ Tucker's been playing really, really good basketball.
Big time leader for the Ties.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why you brought him here, right?
Exactly.
You know, that's why you brought him here. You know, he did the same thing in Miami for the past, I don't know how many years, you know. So, yeah, so, you know, getting back to Joel, you know, Embiid, MVP, how rowdy will that crowd be Friday and Sunday down at the Wells Fargo Center?
I would imagine pretty rowdy. So does he do some type of like MVP acceptance trophy presentation, or does anything like that happen?
I have not heard. They're going to present him with the trophy either for one of the two games. I haven't. I got to
imagine Friday night's game.
Yeah, I guess it would be.
I don't know.
You would think it would be Friday, because that's how they did it. That's why I thought that's how they used to do it all the time, because I thought Iverson got, you know, when he got his award, I thought he found out on the court before the game, and that's why.
I kind of remember that, John. Yeah, I kind of remember that a little bit.
You know, he got his award there, and you know, that was 2001. So I mean, we could be forgetting about it, but maybe he knew about it, and then it was the same thing, you know, coming back to the arena, because you know, Aaron McKee got the 6th man, and coach got his Coach of the Year award as well. So yeah, they'll have something for him, which would be, you know, pump the crowd up, you know, even more to get them excited. And you know, you take tonight's game here, it's only happened 25 times in the NBA history, so that the road team's taken 2-0 lead.
Is that right?
Yeah, 25 times, and 21 times, 21 out and 4 is the record if they win 2-0. So,
well, the fans will definitely be excited no matter what. But if they go up 2-0 and he gets an award,
right,
they're going to be very jacked. So let's hope they can win it tonight. Also, for them, I mean, if they win it tonight, you're the Celtics. You're kind of deflated. You got to play a couple games in Philadelphia, so.
Exactly.
Just stick in there like you did last time, and make sure you win at the end. And then you're going home 2-0. It's crazy.
Last 2 minutes.
That's it.
Last 2 minutes, for sure. Joe Stinger, welcome to the show. Always good to have you. We're talking Sixers. But yeah, I guess my next, and you know, I get pretty pumped up for the little things. Who's gonna beat the bell? Who's gonna hit the bell Friday night? Do they
announce it ahead of time? It's always a surprise. I feel like
it's always a surprise.
It's always a surprise. Yeah, who's it gonna be?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like an AI type thing, you know, one MVP to another, if they do some type of presentation.
Yeah. Probably.
I don't know if the TNT guys do they travel or they are always in the studio.
I think they're always in the studio,
Those
but
guys are, yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say, a Charles Barkley type guy would be,
huge. Oh my
that
God,
would be crazy.
yeah, that would be nuts.
Maybe Dr. J. I don't know. I just feel like it's got to be a former Sixer.
Well, they're going to save a lot of those guys. They try to save the bigger guys to the furthest you get, because once you do them, you can't really do them again. So
yeah,
maybe an
but
AI.
If Joel
for now.
Embiid's going to get his trophy, his award Friday night, maybe it comes from another.
Well, I heard an interesting comment from somebody that they thought Joel might be the first player to ever do it. A player has never done it.
Right.
They just thought that was an interesting concept if it was him.
That'd be good. I don't want Dr. J because he's got a bad winning record. A lot, he's got a loss record ringing the bell.
All right, we don't want Dr. J. Nope.
No Dr. J. We got to keep him away from the bell the rest of the playoffs.
They had Larry Bow at our game, which I thought was interesting. Like they just called him up last minute or something.
Definitely.
It's like, Larry, what are you doing? Can you come over real quick?
Definitely. In my next life, I want to be the guy that squats behind the bell and tells the guy when to ring it, because he's met some of the most fascinating people.
Yeah, a lot of people.
He's handed them the thing to hit it with. He squats below it, tells them when to ring it, takes it back from them. I mean, he's met some of the coolest people. So that's
right.
in my
here's another one of my geekish questions. I said geekish. There's celebrities in all these pretty big towns, right? Snoop's in New York with the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jack Nicholson in LA. Who's our guy in Philly?
Kevin Hart or
well, you have
that M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan's a big one that's always on the sidelines. Kevin Hart. I mean, Will Smith, if he was allowed out of hiding, but he's not.
Well, it's tough because the two markets you mentioned are New York and LA, so they always have a big celebrity.
Right.
Most of the other smaller towns
but
don't
Kevin
always
Hart,
have
that's a pretty big celebrity. But as far as there at most of the games, M. Night Shyamalan by far.
I've seen him every time.
Can Kevin Hart reach the bell?
Wow.
They'll use him to ring it, maybe.
Yeah, they'll use him as the dong, whatever it's called.
Mark Wahlberg. All right, Joe.
Yeah.
He's a Boston guy.
Yeah, he's from Boston.
He's a Boston guy.
Yeah, we don't want him around.
Yeah, we don't want him around.
Okay. So
how about the guy who's the Eagles guy too, the actor?
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper. Yep.
Yeah, guys like
Mike Trout, that would be cool, but he's not around.
I think some of those big names like that, they're going to try to bring out later. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those guys also probably show up if they made the finals or something. Everyone will be in Philadelphia then.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy if the Phillies in town with Boston as well. So if the Phillies got Boston and then Boston against the Celtics and the Sixers. So
Johnny, you got the Phillies going in your room there?
I do 6-6. Bryson Stott just tied it up.
They just tied up the game. So Harper. Well, no, he's across the street playing Boston.
All right, I thought that was...
Oh, he's the agent, so he might be able to swing over. And
Come over and ring the bell and go back.
I don't know.
That brace on his arm.
Sue's Kelsey, Jim Wright, Jason Kelsey.
yeah, Kelsey could be a good one.
Do it.
He did it.
He did it already, I thought.
During the season. During the season, he did it. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, during the season. Kelsey
maybe that, or maybe they bring the new draft pick in.
Yeah, maybe, but
that seems to be more likely.
Kelsey would be nice.
I think Kelsey's on the leaderboard.
You know what? Yeah. But you know who else is in town? Jalen Hurts is in town, so let's bring him in.
Nick Foles. Right. Sean's jumping in with Nick Foles. There you go. That's one for Lauren. She'd have.
I like that. I like that.
Nick Foles.
They're probably trying to figure it out too, because it's a delicate balance. You want to wait as long as you can, but you don't know how long the team's there, so you got to try to space it out the best you can.
Yeah, but you know what, AP? They're in a win-win, man. This is a double win.
I don't want Wentz anywhere near it.
Oh, don't do that.
I don't want him anywhere don't even come to Philadelphia.
Uh-huh.
That's fine.
Absolutely not.
Another
But
show
that would be
with the
great.
mention of Carson Wentz. I love it.
That would be great. Could you actually imagine, though, the amount of booze?
Yeah,
That would
that
be-
wouldn't be.
I think he would know better. Hopefully, he would know better.
No, that would never happen. But I'm just.
Joe Stinger jumping in with Sylvester Stallone. Little Rocky action.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big name.
Yeah.
Little Rocky action. I like that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, is he a little bit played out because he does a lot with the Eagles as well?
He does. Shawnee's jumping in with Dawn Staley. You know, big basketball.
He showed a lot of
person.
love with all the teams. So yeah.
Yep. It's going
I
to be
can see that.
interesting. Going to be interesting. Going to be a lot of fun. Whether it's, we're up 2 or it's 1-1.
And
Well, if they're looking for any suggestions, they just need to check out the comments here on this page.
That's right. Come to This Fan's View, and we got you covered.
how
Jay Wright would be good. I'd like that.
What's that?
Jay Wright, that's who Jim suggested.
Jay Wright, there's another good one. I wanted him as a coach.
yeah. How about was it Calipari?
But wait, come on.
No, Kansas.
Oh, Tyler Perry, yeah.
Coach is doing a hell of a job. I mean, he's he's pushing all the right buttons right now.
He is.
So, he's doing a phenomenal job. So
was it Calipari was his coach in Kansas? Was it or not? He was in Kansas. He's Kentucky. Who was his?
Calipari was in Kentucky.
Right. Who was the Kansas coach for? Joel.
Bring in Carl Henderson. They wouldn't even have to pay me.
That'd be sweet. I'd like that.
Then Lauren could be the person behind the bell. No.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Well, what exactly does he do anyway?
Hit it again.
Yeah.
Hit it now. All right, one more time.
Because it has to be in sync with the music that they make happen. So he has to make sure they do it at the right time. I'm sure he's got, he's probably part of the promotions department or
I never thought of that music till right now. Obviously, that's not the bell sign. Yeah.
So he has to time it exactly. Because there's times when the person's not paying attention and you see him like, come on, now.
Right.
Yeah, he's probably on a headset that he's telling the guy that's clicking it somewhere.
Yeah.
We got another family feud going with Henry and Emily. I mean, it's oh boy.
No parts of that.
Can't get involved with that tonight.
No.
Oh, we can. We can dive into it. We always have room for that. But yeah, so it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good and the Red Sox are in town, right? The Boston Red Sox are in town. Could you have planned this any better?
No.
Apparently not.
It's just exciting to see at the grocery store and stuff like that. A lot of people with Sixers stuff on. You always see younger kids, but I was at the grocery store yesterday and there was an older man with his wife who's clearly been watching the Sixers for 40 or 50 years. Very excited talking to the cashier. The cashiers, I guess, the kid was saying yesterday they weren't allowed to wear any sports things, but because the Sixers are in the playoffs, this particular grocery store is allowing you to wear Sixer stuff or basketball stuff, which is mostly Sixers, anytime that the Sixers are playing. Cool. So that's nice to just sometimes basketball doesn't get that love from anyone other than the younger people. There's a lot of older people with that stuff on now too, which is cool.
Speaking of love, any love for Andrew Toney to ring the bell?
Yeah, the Boston Strangler.
The Boston Strangler from back in the day.
All right.
It'd be funny. I think a lot of the people, the demographic, when you go there, half the kids are so young they probably have no idea who it is. You might have to. You might have to explain.
You
might have to explain who it is.
Yeah, Google.
You might need a highlight video before he comes out.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's gonna
be. Yeah, he'd be a good one.
I bet you there's some people doing double duty, right? I mean, they're gonna go to both games. Is that Sunday? Can you pull up both games?
Sunday, you might be able to.
Yeah, isn't it like one at 6 and one at 3 or something?
I think as the Phillies?
Yeah, go to Phillies and Sixers, double duty. One of the guys at work is going to I thought of it because one of the guys at work is going to the Sixers game. I'm sorry, the Phillies game. And I think the Sixers are later that night in prime time on Sunday night.
No, the Sixers are at 3:30, I thought.
So he'd have to.
It was a 3:30 game, and the Phillies are 105.
Okay.
So they're definitely gonna bang heads.
Well, now with the time clock, it'll be over by 3:30. Just walk across the street.
Catch the first 6 innings and
Right. Well, there you go. You can do that too. Well, you'll be into at least the 8th inning by 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Swift guy. See him?
Unless there's a lot of.
I'm just trying to find tickets for the Sixer game because after the MVP was announced, the tickets have doubled in price.
Well,
So, I
they may double again because that could be a closeout game Sunday night.
Crazy. Huh?
I said, could you imagine if Sunday was a closeout game? No one would have predicted something like that. Let's not get too crazy.
Let's get crazy. Come on. That's what this show's all about. Come on.
That's what we
get
do in
crazy.
Philadelphia.
This show's all about Lauren and the process and Joel Embiid. That's
Dad, do you remember when I was about 10 years old and you would take me to whatever Sixers game you bought me for Christmas and there was like 8 other people there?
Yeah, I was going to say there was 10 of us, and that included the 2 of us.
Yep.
And the 10 players on the field, on the court.
Yeah, I do. You've always loved the game of basketball. You know, I mean, you had as much jump in your legs as I did. So, you've always had the love for basketball. That's for sure.
Maybe that new Eagle guy.
For sure.
Swift guy. Is he in town yet?
Who?
Somebody.
I'm not sure. So that new Swift guy, I think she's talking about the running back from the Lions.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, he's a Philly guy. He's a Philly native.
Yeah.
Okay.
People would like him.
All right. Sue
can do that.
jumping in from the 700 level.
Yeah, he'll be in town because he'll be in town with the Eagles doing a little bit of workouts.
Interesting. Very interesting. Hey, so the Phillies are 6-6 going into the 10th inning.
Bottom of the 9th.
Bottom of 9th, runner at second with nobody out.
Gotcha.
Craig Campbell's pitching.
They still do that silly thing.
Yeah.
He's so weird.
Do we? Let's talk about our other MVP because he had a game 2. I mean, he did pretty good today, right?
Yeah, I think he had 3 hits today, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that not? Do you guys not find this whole thing totally amazing? You know that this guy can come back. After 160 days from major Tommy John surgery and perform like this?
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's but that's Bryce. He just loves the game. It's his family's out there in Los Angeles area. So they are close enough to go see him play. That's where he had his major league debut in Dodger Stadium. So he got the clearance and he was ready to play right away. It's a little interesting to see him running around the bases with the brace on.
They were talking about it during the game today. I don't know if you caught any of it, but I guess that's the same arm brace that JJ Watt wore.
Yes,
from the injury,
mm-hmm.
And that's where his is you just slide it on.
Yeah,
it just slides on. There's no Velcro. It's pretty cool. I'm sure
it's pitch clock approved.
Yeah. I think Shawnee said that Bryce is having a little problem with the pitch clock. He said he's
Well, he's going to be the one guy, yes, because like he said, he's been taught all his whole career to slow the game down.
Well, if he's got 3 hits and he's having problems, I'll let him go.
Right after the second game.
Yeah, I'm okay. Just go ahead, do your thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he'll be fine. He'll figure it out. They're professionals, but it's like he said, he's just taking a longer time to get to the batter's box, walking in, and just he'll make it done. But it's just one of those things that he's got to adjust to a little bit. But
Yep, he just wants his game back. That's all.
Right. Once you're in the batter's box, the game's the same.
Yep.
See ball, hit it.
Yep. Hey, real quick, while we're in baseball mode, Anthony, can we get a baseball town update? I mean, there seems like there's almost an announcement every day coming out of Reading.
Oh yeah, I mean, we had an announcement this week, yesterday, about a summer concert series that's at the stadium that normally is in like it's like a free concert series each week at City Park, which is like a famous sort of concert venue in the city. The band shell, and then they're going to do it at the stadium now. We work with Berks Arts Council on that. They do the Jazz Fest, which is sort of world known. We were getting close this year. We've talked about having Bernie Williams play at the stadium for many times because he's a famous jazz musician these days. And there's a group that's coming, but Bernie's schedule didn't work for him this year. And we've talked to him about coming on opening night and doing the anthem. So one of these days we're going to get Bernie to the stadium. But that's one announcement. Tonight's the last Reading High game of the year. We announced a couple of weeks ago that they're going to play all their games at the stadium going forward. So that's exciting. Starting to program an internship and mentorship with those kids, which is cool. And then our team will be home on Tuesday. There's a camp. I guess it's a school kid game. So there'll be 7, 8, 9,000 kids screaming, which is fun. And then we're home through next weekend on Sunday for actual Mother's Day with a pink hat for mom. So every single day there's something. Tomorrow night there's a private event and a bunch of other private events throughout the weekend. So every day we got something going, and the building's progressing, and we'll be ready for usage this time next year. So a lot of good stuff.
Nice. Very good.
Grand Slam, they lost.
So the Dodgers are celebrating a sweep of our Phillies with a walk-off grand slam. Who hit that? Please
Max
don't.
Muncy.
That Kimbrel guy, that pitcher, he sucks.
Tell us how you really feel.
That's my girl in the 700 level. She don't hold back. She's in rare form tonight. So I'll just let her go. I'm not even going to attempt to stop her. So
you better hope the Sixers win, unless you'll be in trouble. Oh,
I'm just, you know what? I just let it go. Just let it go.
The Phillies are getting a mulligan.
I mean, I could have hit that.
yeah, he left that.
I mean,
he left
I
that ball
could have
right
hit
there.
that ball.
Yeah, that was just sitting there. That's a shame.
Yeah, it was a shame. They could have gotten out in the inning before with Alvarado in the 8th and had a smash to Sosa that got by him.
Well, it's obviously early on, but the problem with a team like the Dodgers is any one of those guys can kill you. So you got to get everyone out.
Right.
That's tough.
Yeah. Yep. I guess I'm just having a hard time with, Nola, Wheeler, Strom, whoever. They're having that one bad inning.
Exactly.
They're having that one inning that they really get themselves in trouble. The pitch count gets up there. They mix in a walk or two, a couple of cheap singles, and next thing you know, they put up a 4 or 5 spot. And it just seems like it's happening an awful lot. But I had it on my list to talk about the ups and downs of this season with, just trying to, we got to get this lineup figured out, right? We got to figure out, who's on first and, what we're doing moving forward, especially with Bryce. Yeah. And who's on second, with Bryce coming back.
Well, I think a lot of teams right now, if you look at a lot of records, don't feel bad. A lot of teams are figuring out. A lot of teams are around 500. A lot of teams should be doing better.
All right, go ahead. I'll give you your 30 seconds of shame. Your Pirates have the winningest record in all of baseball.
Second. Behind
Oh.
Tampa. They're currently playing Tampa. They lost yesterday. This is what people are calling around the world the World Series preview. I said, let's slow down. I don't know about that.
No one's calling that.
I heard many people I know.
No one called it
I
that.
didn't hear that either.
2 people from Pittsburgh I heard said it.
People from Pittsburgh.
2 people?
I'm one of them. Other ones I text often. But
It was
but I mean,
and Kent Ticovey.
Tentacle, yeah. No, it's I will tell you this. To watch those games, it's fun. They are maximizing the stealing and making sure that they have the pitcher throw over once or twice so they can't throw over again. They're doing every little thing that they can to get guys on base. And I will tell you, not just because they're winning, but it's been the most exciting team that I've seen play in quite some time. And I think a lot of the teams that aren't stealing are figuring that out, like a Yankees or whoever. I think you got to start doing that. I think it's part of it now. You got to get the pitcher frazzled. You got to move guys over. But no, they're doing it without hitting home runs. They're still not hitting. They don't have the power. They're just going to hit here and there, and guys are stealing. And that's what makes baseball fun to watch. So, but there's a lot of teams at that same thing that the Phillies have, those struggles. You're trying to figure out, hey, why is this pitcher can't get it done? And in the next month or two, a lot of those teams are going to get it figured out. Right. But don't feel alone, because there's a lot of teams that are like that are supposed to be very, very good that are just hanging around 500 right now.
Exactly. Oh yeah, well, the season doesn't get started till June. Realistically, Memorial Day. It's you stay close to 500 then, and then you want to be hot in September and October for when the playoffs come around. So it's nice to get off to a hot start. The Phillies did that in '93 and carried it through. Your Pirates are doing it this year. Hopefully they can continue it through for them. Because they got some good young players that are coming up, and a couple of veterans there as well that's playing well for them.
Well, it seems like a good mix for them. But the one thing that scares you, the same thing you worry about the Phillies, their pitching that no one really thought is excelling right now. Mm-hmm. My concern is what the Phillies are experiencing a little bit, that doesn't happen at some point. You got a guy like Rich Hill who's 43 years old, and can he continue doing that? And a lot of stuff like that. So let's enjoy it while I can, and hopefully that it can continue. But pitching always is the key for everything. I mean, you can always find a guy that's going to get a hit here or there, but if your pitching doesn't hang in with you and you're losing 6 runs immediately, you're kind of toast.
Vinny Velasquez has never looked so good.
Oh man, Vinny Velasquez is the man. He might be the Cy Young winner this year if we keep going like this.
Oh, would you stop?
Come on, get on the train. Everyone's aboard.
True.
Yeah.
Mark this show down, because I don't think we'll be revisiting this again.
I don't think the words Cy Young and Velasquez have ever been used in the same sentence before.
No.
Not even after the 17 strikeouts he had with the Phillies, that his first game ever.
Praise the Jolly Roger. I told you she's in rare form. She's in rare form. Give her 3 Tylenol and let her go. Oh, unbelievable. Do we have time for some Eagles draft talk?
Sure.
Johnny, I think this is your segment.
Yeah, Howie knocked it out of the park this week, or this past draft here, and it's impressive. And it was kind of just keeping it simple. Just take the guy that fell to you. Get the teams from the SEC that you just take the guys, and who would have thought Georgia South would be coming north. Where we talked about after the national championship game last year in 21, it'd be nice to get a couple of guys off of this team, and you got 5. That's just crazy. But like we saw last year, it's nice to have those guys, but they got to get on the field.
Right.
So hopefully they'll be able to do it. They're going to have the opportunity this year to get onto the field, where last year they were blocked a little bit with guys. Jordan Davis will hopefully take a bigger step now with his second year, and Nakobe Dean, as well himself, having a spot now opened up for him, and let the other 2 guys, learn as well from the veterans and get their, rotational play in, and it'll be nice to see. It's it was very impressive to see what they got. Even the offensive lineman was a nice pickup, that he can play guard and tackle if he needs to. They ended up getting another quarterback as well. Which is always, with the quarterback factor, you're always going to get another quarterback. But
need somebody to hold that clipboard.
Right, exactly. And plus for training camp purposes, you need somebody to
throw the ball around. Sure.
So
I guess the biggest question that I have, with all these Bulldogs, the two from last year, Jordan Davis, the talk all during the season was he was never in playing shape.
right.
He couldn't get in shape. He couldn't get on the field. He was a spot player. Is this year 2 the breakout year?
Let's hope so. Hopefully he woke up and realized, hey, it's not the college football anymore. That we can just walk onto the field and we're the best team out there. Everybody that's out there is a superstar. So it's
well, they're all as good, if not better, than you.
Right, exactly.
Level. So
exactly, and and Howie didn't just stop at the drafting Bulldogs. He even traded for one as well to make, getting DeAndre Swift, like we mentioned earlier in the year or on the show here, that that's going to help the running backs out tremendously as well. Having him in the mix, he's on his last year of his contract, which he has to prove it factor there, so that should be good.
Jim Wright's asking about Robinson as far as he was taken 7th. I guess in a roundabout way, Jim Wright's asking, was Howie ever going to draft him? Was he ever in the plans?
I don't think so. As much as we've talked about it the last show that that's who we wanted. I don't know that Howie did. I think this plan that came, tuition here, I think was what Howie really wanted to do. Build up get the young defense out here. Now, did he expect Nolan Smith to drop to 30? I don't think so. But he may have moved up for him if he didn't. But the way he read the board and saw everybody was just dropping, it was it was masterful for him. And it's funny how 2 years ago we were all over Howie, especially myself. Not picking Jalen Reagor as the guy when you had Justin Jefferson sitting there, and now he's doing everything's working out perfectly for him. It's you have a team that was in the Super Bowl, and you got this team that's built to win continuously. It's nice to see.
Yep.
100%. That you can just take those picks and just let them come and all right, we can use this guy, perfectly. Even if we don't use him this year, he's going to be, red-shirted and basically, and we'll have him ready to go when we need to fill in the hole.
Hey, real quick, the question, came up the night of the draft, I guess, with the Eagles and the Cardinals tampering of the coach.
Gannon.
That eventually went there to be the head coach. It just seems a little light for a tampering charge. What did it end up being?
Just a flop in the third. I mean, they moved up a lot in the third round, but
right. I thought tampering charges were a little bit more. You were held a little bit more accountable by the league.
Yeah. I guess they softened up on them because they gave themselves up.
They figured it out on their own.
Well, they gave themselves up instead of the league finding it out.
Gotcha.
They were being responsible.
Okay. All right. Well, Warren, we got a lot of clock left. We got a lot of clock.
Come on, you missed the Flyers.
What
was there to miss?
Nothing. Not a peep since last show.
Nothing.
Ooh.
Well, nothing. Carter Hart said that he wants to win or he wants to be traded.
No shit.
Did he really say that?
He in so many words, yes.
He hasn't given him much damn time. I mean,
he's here to win, and he wants the team to be built to win.
What about if he stops making goals go to the net?
Yep, that's a great point. That's a great point.
You have a microphone on her tonight? She seems much louder than normal.
No, that's Sue from the 700 level. And she's.
Well, why can't, what's a little frustrating about this, I get his frustration, but shouldn't he want to be a leader that stays in a certain town and helps them figure it out? I get it, but come on.
Well,
it's a little soon to say something like that. You haven't been here that long.
Yeah, he's I think there's a lot of frustration there. I honestly do. I think there's a lot of frustration with a number of those young players. I think a lot of it, stems from the coach. I'm not a huge John Tortorella fan, so I'm probably the wrong one to ask. I just don't think he's the right fit to be the coach of this young team moving forward. I have a tough time with him. I think
the toughest part just doesn't seem like. I know they probably internally have some type of direction that they think they're going, but it just still seems like there hasn't been any like big statement or.
All right, well, you're an exec, you're a management guy. You got a fancy office. You know what I mean? You got all these big execs around the NFL, NBA. Guys are wheeling and dealing, making decisions, and putting players in the right spot. Right here we are. We're heading into what? Less than 2 weeks from the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we're still toying around with we have no general manager. Okay, we have an interim general manager. And like everyone's disappeared. Like nobody's saying anything. Like there's no accountability. They need the operations guy. Someone that's going to take charge. They're missing.
The problem with the Flyers is that no one wants to be that person to go speak. You don't even know if your job's safe. So who the hell's the person really in charge? You can't make the next move until you know what's happening. And I don't know if even between Briere and the coach, I mean, does anyone feel like they're totally safe? I don't know that they do. So no one's going to say anything. But ownership or someone, you would have had that back in the day when it was like a person. Now you don't really have that, so it's just very frustrating, I'm sure, as a fan.
Well, I mean, you just take the Pittsburgh Penguins. They got bounced out of the playoffs for the first time in 16 years. Guess what happened? They fired everybody.
Yeah, you have to.
They fired the general manager. They fired the operations guy. They fired his guy. You know what I mean? And soon they'll be firing the coach as well. And
I'm sure you're doing it for a reason, right? But it also sends a statement. I don't see the Flyers firing every single person and saying we're going to start over, but they haven't said that we're going to keep some people, and they just seem misguided. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Sean brings up the last 5 games of the season where Tortorella couldn't even be found. You know what I mean? He had his assistants coaching the game. He was up in the press box. He was up in the general manager's box, and it was like he didn't even want to be there.
I guess you can give him a little leeway to right after the Stanley Cup's go on, but if you can't give him much longer than that, other teams are making moves. It's not like they'd be the only team.
Well, you're less than 6 weeks away from the draft, right? Because isn't it in June?
Yes.
In June. Yep. So I mean, you're like
yes.
You're it's not that far away. So you got to get people in place so they can say, okay, this guy's worth keeping, this player's worth trading or whatever, and get those trades already in the works so that you have flexibility with your cap, that what you have and what you're trading away to eat money and that kind of stuff. So
it's been a cluster.
So separately, if you see all the other teams in the city having that much success, how do you say like, hey, we let's not at least make a statement or do something to make it look like we're trying? It just makes you look like the one bad team.
Well, Jaws last week, when we had him on the show, he talked about that, from 1980, where all the teams were in the championship game or in the playoffs, and everybody was a winning franchise, and even he didn't even want to speak about the Flyers. And it just, I don't know.
They don't even have a cap.
I don't know. Did we not, Lauren, did we not go through this with the 76ers years ago, when they drafted Embiid and, we drafted a guy with a busted foot and, why did we draft him? And, next thing you know, you went through what, 4 general managers, trying to get where we are today. And, hey, it's a beautiful thing today, but we paid a dear price for that.
I mean, you've been trusting the process since 2014. I mean, they drafted Embiid in 2011.
But the difference with them is they also told you that that's what they're going to do. So you're accepting.
But they also were criticized, and they've paid the ultimate price since then.
Yeah, but
but I'm saying they've paid the ultimate price throughout the league. That's why it took until this year for Embiid to win the MVP, because the league doesn't like that the Sixers were public about it. Okay. They're never going to admit that.
I'm just saying they have an actual
But
plan.
They've been reprimanding them ever since. They've been making them out to be the don't ever do that again. Don't ever follow in the Sixers' footsteps.
Right.
It just seems like they had a plan.
No other team wants to do that.
There's no plan for the Flyers. They're just all over the place.
Well, they just
there's no ownership.
Told you what they're doing, but they don't want to. They saw what happened to the Sixers.
Or they don't know what they're doing.
Oh, well, that's probably more likely. But if they do know what they're doing, they're not going to come out and say publicly that they're tanking, because they saw what the Sixers dealt with for the last 8 years at this point.
Yeah, Embiid was drafted in 2014, and it took, 3 years for him to get on the court? Do I have that right, John? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, and then even when they drafted Simmons, he was the same way. He basically stayed out a year plus, and and it started right before Embiid as well, like a year or two before Embiid. So I mean, it's been, it's been a while. You're over 10 years, for the process here, and fortunately, hopefully, let's knock on wood, that we may get down to the second round. It's because we got a tough matchup still here with Boston, but winning game 1 there was huge without Embiid. Hopefully he's going to be back tonight. Hopefully, I want to see what Lauren's thoughts on that is. If he should play tonight or not, just to give him a little extra rest. If
I don't see how he doesn't play. I think coming off of MVP, I think part of it is he feels like he has to.
Right.
I mean, maybe he doesn't play a lot, and hopefully he doesn't, because, we don't need him to overdo it if we get further into the playoffs. But I feel like it's one of those things where he feels like he's got to be at least in uniform and out there more so than he was Monday.
Right.
Does it get any easier getting past the Celtics? I mean,
Yeah.
If you play the Knicks, I think, I'm not taking the Knicks lightly. I'm just saying Jimmy Butler is going to play. He's not going to guy that's going to sit the bench. He's going to play, and he's going to play you hard because he doesn't like what happened. And I don't want to see what happened to them before when you play them happen. So I'd pull out of play the Knicks. The league would love if you play the Knicks. Knicks would not have made that far in a long, long time. And you got a ton of fans in New York who bring in lots of money and ratings. So that would be great for the league. All the old highlights they would show against the two teams. And then if you beat the Knicks, I mean, you're in the championship. So
I 100% agree with Sal. If they get past the Celtics, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to beat the West Coast team, which is going to be a difficult task because they're good. Always, whoever's in the West is always good. I mean, to get that
but
far.
The Bucks are out, so you don't have to worry about them now.
Yeah, but
Golden State's not the Warriors of 5 years ago, right at the moment.
Well, this is their definitely best chance of all those years, but
right.
Yeah, you got to beat the Celtics first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't tell Mr. Curry that. I mean, did you see that performance on Sunday? Oh, my.
Yeah, the 50 points. Oh, yeah.
Game 7. Oh, my. Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, but I mean, that shouldn't have gone 7 games. Is
you're probably right. But
if Golden State was the Golden State of a couple years ago, they win them in 5. It shouldn't be going that way. So, with Embiid being a little bit healthier at that point, hopefully, it does get it. Nothing ever gets easier because you're down to the final 4, final 16. 2 at the time when you played for the finals. So, those teams are always going to be playing at that point good team basketball and hot. So it doesn't really matter. But
well, they just showed Joel getting dressed in the locker room. Does that secure a spot on the bench that he's playing tonight?
Yeah,
they announced before that he was going to play, right?
Well, they were trying to hold it off as long as possible. I mean,
that wasn't any suspense there.
You told me
I think he
at
kind of
9 o'clock
mentioned
this morning he was playing.
Yeah.
Sean was asking a question about the Snyder family. I don't think anyone is left. The only thing left of that is the Snyder Youth Foundation hockey, and I don't think it has anything to do with the NHL team. I don't think there's anyone left. It's 100% owned by Comcast Spectacor.
Well, I think real quick, I know just because the show's about to end, but I think the one thing that's important is I also, I don't watch the Flyers nearly as much as everyone else, but there's no face. There should be a face of Comcast Spectacor. When you say it's Comcast Spectacor, sounds like this big conglomerate of a company, which it is. There needs to be one guy who's the go-to guy. It's very easy to push things away when there's no one in charge.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be that face. Who's going to sign up for that?
Well, you get praise when you win then.
Right.
Lauren, back to you. Saturday event. Let's give everybody some info on Humane Pennsylvania.
We have our 46th annual Walk for the Animals on Saturday. It's one of our bigger fundraisers, so we are working hard on making that really successful this year. The weather looks like it's going to cooperate, so that is half the battle. We're expecting probably close to 400 walkers on Saturday, and
nice.
Half of them bring their dogs with them, so it should be a lot of fun. It's about a mile-long walk, and then we've got live music, beer, wine, picnic buffet, food trucks, vendors, all kinds of stuff for people to hang out as long as they'd like. And hopefully they do, because it's going to be a really nice day on Saturday after all the rain we've had recently. So, and then obviously all the money raised comes back and supports the animals that we have in our shelter, but then also folks in the community who need some help.
And this is what number walk for you?
46.
Yeah.
Sorry, for me.
You personally.
8.
Number 8.
Yes.
Very cool. Well, kudos to you and all the folks, that are on your team. You guys' job, and it's the best of luck to you guys on Saturday.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. So, Johnny, you're a go. I see you're at home. Did you got everything back up and running?
Oh yeah. The brain was fried this morning and forgot to bring the power cord. I found out that it was a little bit helpful to run the podcast if you had the power cord, but
it's important. It's important.
Just a small little thing, but
yep, it's important. But thank you for all you do, and Anthony, you're back in baseball town next week. Who comes to town?
Yep, I have no
Fisher
idea.
Cats.
Fisher Cats, New Hampshire. That's Toronto's team. So
Okay.
that'd be Tuesday
Fisher
through Sunday.
Cats.
Yep.
Very cool. All right.
more importantly, tomorrow night you got Kevin Long and Dusty Watson coming to Carl's Cards. So get your National League Championship coaches there. Come in and meet them and get to find out a little bit of hitting tips from the best hitting coach in baseball.
Hey, Joe Stinger, we'll break it right now. Carlos De La Cruz coming to Carl's Cards real soon. Lauren, how soon?
June 26th, Monday, June 26th from 6:30 to 8 p.m.
There you go, Joe Stinger. You broke the story.
Did he know that, or did he want to just talk about him?
No, that's his guy. He had a picture taken with him. You know what I mean? It's like, here's Carlos and here's Joe.
Well, and I'll give you.
That's a lot of people.
I'll give everyone a heads up. He's just from watching him. He's been there a little bit last year too. He's probably one of the nicest humans you've ever met. He takes time with kids. He's a very polite person. People are going to really enjoy him.
Good.
In Joe's defense, he was standing on stilts. De La Cruz, I think.
Joe was?
No, De La Cruz.
Next Wednesday, we are back at Hanrahan's.
Yes, we are.
We just left.
We did, and we're back that quick. And, you know, we got Dickie Knowles and Tommy Green, 2 Philly favorites from back in the day. So we're looking forward to that next Wednesday. Yeah, we're busy. We got a very, very busy May. So follow us on This Fan's View, carlscards.com, Humane, Pennsylvania, our Phil's out in Reading. We got free tickets for baseball games. Come on. Who else does that?
Nobody.
On that note, go Sixers. Let's grab that 2-0 tonight.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The big fellow with a 40-point night tonight. You heard
Wow.
it here first. 40 points.
That'd be something.
40 and 15 rebounds.
40
Wow.
and 15. There you go.
Wow.
There you go. The big fella is putting a stamp on the MVP.
Exactly.
All right. Let's
Have
see
a great night. Have a great rest of your week, and hopefully we'll see you somewhere along the road.
Yes. Have a good
Take
night.
care.
Not right here.
Hi.
Hello.